Welcome back. It is July 11th, and we are halfway through the season here. This is my Realignment 2028 series as the Oakland A's. This is the 2031 season. We are at the first year player draft, about halfway through the season, just before the All Star game. For some reason, the draft is before the All Star game this year. I'm not entirely sure why. But yeah, doing well to start the year. I know at one point we were the best team by record in the league, and now we are still technically a half game ahead of the Mets for the lead in record. But also the best, and tied with the Tigers for the best record. Um, yeah, so I talked about our season kind of so far in the last episode. We'll have to figure out trade deadline, what we're going to do, where we can improve, what guys are even out there to grab. I don't even know who I'd be willing to give up for some of these guys. Probably just make some minor moves to like solidify some depth or maybe make some minor improvements. But first things first, before that, it is the first year player draft. We do pick 34th in the first round, so not a lot of, you know, chance that we're going to get a really good player here. I know in the last mock draft, Camden Bagley was set to go 30th, so I had some hope that he would fall to our pick at 34. When the draft combine happened, he got a lot of attention. And I mean, he's done really well in the draft league. Like, he just looks like a great player. Like, I would consider maybe taking him first overall in this draft. Like, that's how much I like him over a bunch of these other guys. Yeah, so I did make a short list of players. Let's see if I do a filter of guys that are shortlisted. That will include some random guys with funny names like Phil Bone and, well, not necessarily all funny names. Kevin Valiancourt, Quince McGinnis. I like to just keep track of guys with fun names to see how they do. Xavier Sheffield with a XH. I like that spelling. But anyway, all players. Let's go here to the top 12 or so guys here are guys that I'd probably consider taking with my pick. The hope is that by pick 34, we're going to still have some of those guys on the board. Whether that's realistic or not, I don't know. But if one of these guys is there, we'll probably take him. So we'll see how that goes. We're kind of just going to go best player available too. Like, there's no real positions of need. I mean, our system is 15th out of 32, so it's not like we're super strong in any areas. Like, catcher seems to always be a need, especially with the slight decline of Drake Baldwin, at least by ratings. He's continued to do well this year, on pace for slightly less WAR than last year, but still a good season. But the long-term prospects, as he is over 30 now, he is 30 now. But yeah, a little concerning. So maybe I'll look to target that if it makes sense. I don't know. But mostly it's just going to be best player available. And I'll go ahead and start the draft, and let's just see, who goes first overall. I mean, I would take Bagley first overall, I think. Hunter Terrell is mock draft number 1. Who did the Stars take? They do take Hunter Terrell. Okay, so how chalk is this going to be? Let's see. As the Diamondbacks reach down the board a bit to grab Casey Steratore, I do like him better than a lot of the other hitting prospects that were slated to go at the top of the draft here. The Reds take Mark Lane. He went third overall in the last draft. He's going third again. He's a bit more developed than some of those guys. Edgar Diaz, Chris Bielski, first pitcher off the board. He was a guy that I thought could maybe drop since he was slated to go 24th. Jaden Doctor, Rob Sharp, run on catchers here. Travis Torbeck also looks good, I remember. Yeah, I do like that it shows. Well, no. Why does it have 18? Oh, age. Duh. I thought that was his predicted slot where he was going to go. Joe Wotring, Bobby Prentice. Okay, so a few of those names. I think Bobby Prentice was a name that was on our draft board here. Yeah, I guess let's auto draft and see who is still available. Okay. As Bagley does go off the board at 14. Fessler, Amari Smith, Chris Brown, Adam Fowler goes 2 picks before. Okay, so scouting recommendations. Phil Feldman, that was a name that I had thrown on there. I do quite like him. He's still really raw, but he has good ratings, has good personality, decent defense where he could probably play third base. Like, I don't hate that overall. Let me see too if there's any other interesting like batting prospects. Stephen Gillian was one that I thought would maybe go higher and is potentially an interesting name. Potentially interesting. Cody Lucan looks really solid. Yeah, he's just really raw, age 17. If we look at Lucan versus Feldman, I think Feldman has higher. Let's compare. He has higher stats currently, and several of his stats have better potential as well. Just better power and eye for Lucan, which power is important, but I think the gap in these other ratings, it does help sometimes to see them side by side. He's also better on the base paths too, and most importantly, he's better at sacrifice bunting. So, that's the ultimate tiebreaker right there. Let's see. Any interesting pitchers? Josh McAllister. He was a guy that is listed as a starter, but is really more of a reliever. Kevin Reddig is a raw-looking starter, but looks decent. Like, I wouldn't probably want to take him in the first round, but decent. Mark Shepard also looks pretty decent. He's got good personality at the very least, and yeah, maybe a name that we look at. I wouldn't mind him in like the second round for sure. I think I'm leaning towards Feldman in the first. Cody Lucan. I wish there was a way to see like somewhere where they're projected to go in the draft, because I kind of like using that as a little barometer. Like Lucan. Sean Scott was another name I remember looking at. I don't think he ended up getting added to my draft list, but I'll go ahead and add him now just because I don't want to forget about him. He, power's not great, but the rest of his hitting ratings look good. He is 22 already, but could play at A ball, maybe even high A, without too much difficulty there. Let's see, we've got Pignati, Boyer, yeah, Lucan. Oh, this is the. Okay, Lucan was already projected to go by our pick. Jake Sweat, Phil Feldman. They actually have us taking Phil Feldman and the mock draft here. That might end up being our pick. Just looking around and making sure I don't like any of these other guys better that are kind of in the range here. Yeah, I mean, Tim McCarthy, Pete Masek also looks interesting. Wilson Doring, Bobby Farinelli, yeah, Hector Becerra, Sean Scott, projected to go at the top of the second round. So unlikely that he's going to make it back around to our pick in the second. Osama Mishlak. That's a good name. All right, Joe Lambert. Joe Lambert will likely not be our pick in the second round. All right, so we're going to take, I think, Phil Feldman here. Yeah, let me make sure, like, none of the batters are really jumping out at me. Joe Lambert was one where he, like, yeah, the control is an issue. Trujillo, I mean, he looks decent. I just don't know if I'd take him in the first. Where is he projected to go? As Adam Rath is still out there too. Yeah, Rath projected to go near the top of the second. Joe Lambert. I still don't see Trujillo. There he is. So he's slated to go. Where was that? Near the bottom of the third. Actually, the pick after ours in the third. So I think it's safe to wait on him. I doubt he's going to get taken before it gets to us in the second, at least. But I do want to look at real quick. Yes, okay. Yeah, Adam Rath is the last pitcher that we had on our board here, and he looks solid. He's only 21. He could start at A-ball. I feel like pitching is kind of a strength for us at the moment. I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to, take need into account, but in terms of like being a tiebreaker between picks, I think it's fine. And Feldman's really raw, but if his power can go up, if his eye can go up, like that gap power is 90 potential. Contact has 80 potential, has solid defensive ratings. Yeah, I think I can talk myself into liking this pick. Yeah, and we'll see if any of these guys are still available here in the second round when it gets back around to our pick. But for now, Phil Feldman. I almost said Phil Hartman. Yeah, Phil Feldman. Phil Feldman is the pick here. 5-star potential. Yeah. And let's auto draft, and they're all gone. Okay. Rath is still here. Okay, that's great. Yeah, Adam Rath does make it back around despite like projected to go in the top of the second. Okay, I mean, he's the only one I've thrown on a short list that does make it back around. So Trujillo also still there. Could look to see if he makes it to the third, because I think I like Rath a bit better. Let's do a head-to-head comparison here. Yeah, Wrath just has higher potential. Trujillo has slightly better current ratings, at least versus left-handed pitching. Wrath has the edge on right-handed pitching currently. Also slightly better just overalls, very slight. Um, yeah, and then individual pitches. He's got a lot of good potential here. Okay, so I think Wrath will be the pick, and then maybe Trujillo. I'm gonna throw him on a short list, and if he makes it back around to the third, I think he'll be the pick there. Let me glance at batters really quick just to make sure there's no one I'm overlooking. Jamie Cox looks good, but probably not someone I need to draft. Ditto Carlos Romero. Justin Golkison. Ooh, his signability is impossible. I mean, we could pull a Dupuis with him in the third potentially. Where is he projected to go? Fred Feeney looks fine. Sometimes these impossible guys will slip a bit because no one wants to sign them. No one wants to pay their outrageous bonus. Golkison. Let's look for Golkison. Golkison. And they actually have us picking him, hilariously, in the third. Okay. So there's a strong chance that either Golkison or Trujillo, if not both, will be available at our pick in the third. So we're going to take that chance, and we're going to take, we're going to take Adam Rath here. Feel the wrath of Adam Rath. Feel the wrath of Auto Draft. And, so Trujillo looks like he's gone. Golkison is still there. Okay. So we have a ton of money slotted for the draft. I don't mind taking the chance on Golkison, similar to what we did with Dupuis last year. He just looks like a good hitter. If we don't sign him, we lose a third round pick. Not the end of the world. We didn't have a third last year due to signing Volpe. So, Golkison will be the pick here. No problem whatsoever. And now as we auto draft here, Scott Stanley, still with 4-star potential, hanging out here. Catches my eye a bit as we are officially out of the guys that I've shortlisted. Yeah, all players. These are all guys with fun names. Phil Bone. Now that's a name. All right. Let's see. Now, pitchers. Josh McAllister. I keep looking at him and thinking, oh, he's got a high potential as a starting pitcher, and then he's really more of a reliever. And there are a lot of reliever types kind of out there, though Alex Damaso doesn't look like a reliever and does have high work ethic. That's an interesting name. Jordan Terry, yeah, he's a bullpen arm for sure. Pitching draft, yes. Although Eric Baker has 95 stuff potential with a cutter and a circle change. Like, that's intriguing, but I don't think I can't draft a bullpen arm this high. I think that would be irresponsible and crazy. All right, let's see. Damaso looked interesting. I mean, he's 18. He's raw, but worth potentially taking a look at. It is the 4th round now, so we're kind of past the guys that are kind of sure shot. can't miss potential kind of guys. Gabe Love has good ratings and a good personality. I did like Scott Stanley too. His defensive ratings are a little low, but his batting looks good for a catcher. He has 19. Alex Landon looks okay. He seems like a guy that will probably still be available in the next round. Yeah, any other pitchers that kind of catch my eye? Yeah, but beyond that, we go to the 3-star potential pitchers, which maybe there's a guy, Matt Hyland. I mean, he looks interesting, but I don't know if I want to take him in the 4th. I'll throw his name on a list for later. Yeah, now we're to the 2.5-star potential. Okay, so I think it's either going to be Damaso or it's going to be Stanley or Love. Between those three. Let's do a direct comparison between Stanley and Love. As Stanley the better overall player, I think. Is a year older. Better on the base paths. Defensive ratings, obviously he plays catcher. Love plays infield. Likely first base, but will maybe be passable at third, especially if he got some time in the dev lab. Let's see, Stanley and Love, where are both of these guys projected to go as we oh, you're out of the draft. Let's see, Draft Central. Sean Wood still hanging out there. Yeah, he doesn't look great. We want Stanley and we want wait, did I see Stanley? No. There's Stanley. Again at our pick, man. So they're actually nailing these mock draft picks. They have us taking him in the 4th. Okay, and then what about Love? What about Love? I'm not going to start singing, don't worry. Yeah, I think there's a chance Love is still there in the next round. And then the pitcher we were looking at was Damaso. Let's see, Damaso. Nope, I do not see Damaso. So there's a chance he'll be there in the next round too. I think we roll the dice then potentially and take Stanley, even though we have several catchers at Rookie League Ball already. I mean, there is something to be said for that, I suppose. You know, we have Engberg and Roberts and Kraft to a lesser degree, but Kraft is kind of whatever. But again, I don't super take need into account. But it could be a good tiebreaker here. Stanley can't really play other positions. He has some outfield ratings, but not good enough to actually play any of the positions, I think. And then Love, yeah, projects as maybe a third baseman, but probably a first baseman. Hmm. Yeah, let's just go ahead and take Stanley, and then hopefully Love and Damaso will drop to the next round. That's my hope. Damaso does not. Love does. Okay, so Love will be the pick. Sight unseen, like that's our fifth round pick. No worries there. Okay, and then pitching wise, could take a chance on someone like Adam Franklin, who's super raw. We could go for who's the 3-star guy that I liked? He's gone already, I think. Yeah. So like, there's not a lot of pitchers out there that I'm still really in love with. Anicio Olive. I like that name. And he looks good too. Like his control's a little low, but his movement is really high. And the high movement guys, I think, have been doing better overall. I think. Yeah, for the sake of getting more pitching depth, let's go with that, I think. Yeah. Olive. Still very raw, but is also a lefty. Yeah, why not? In the sixth round, why not? Okay, and then do I like any of these guys? Zach Poole looks interesting. Not bad at all for still being available and being only 3.5 stars. And Ledesma, also not bad at all. Like, I like the 65 power a lot. Am I really going to draft another catcher? I think I am. I just. Why can't I hold all these catchers? I mean, why can't I? He could play outfield too, technically, kind of, sort of, not really. Um, yeah, we'll go with Ledesma. Hopefully, Poole will fall. He does. Okay. I mean, are there pitchers out there that I like better? Adam Franklin's still out there and still intriguing with his high movement. And we've got some 3-star potential starters still out there. All right. I think what I'm going to do is take Poole, and then we'll see who's available out of the starters next round in the 8th. Because I think it's likely that some of them will fall, and Franklin falls, Hamrick falls. Hamrick has 80 potential control and high work ethic. Franklin has 80 potential home run allowed. I think I like that better, even though he's super raw. Again, it's kind of a crapshoot at this point. We're almost to the 10th. Hamrick's still out there. Any of these batters look interesting. Andy Dearment. I do like him. Oh, Dearment. It's Dearment. Okay, cool. The all caps name threw me off there. Dearment is the actual Dearment. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do here. There we go. This is why you play commissioner mode, to make the important changes, like giving a guy a nickname. Yeah, after that, how can I not draft him? Okay, that's our 10th round pick. I'll do the rest off camera and I'll show you the final draft results when we're done. Okay, the draft is done. Let's see. I've drafted a few more interesting looking guys. Hamrick was our next pick at 11. I think I was debating between him and Dearmont in 10. Corbett has a lot of power, could play immediately at A ball. Yeah, not uh, a ton of really interesting guys. I do want to point out our 20th round pick, as usual. I went for someone with a fun name in Shamar Wigfall, another catcher. I haven't looked to see what people want yet as far as negotiation go. So we're going to be over slot with our first round pick. We're definitely going to be over slot with our third round pick. I think we're still going to be okay though. I'm going to start with the third because okay. So he wants 4.8 million. The slot is 820,000. Yeah, so we're going over slot for sure. But let's see if we do 4.8 times 1.5. Whoops, 4.8 times 1.5. That's nope. That's not it. 4.8 times 1.5. $7.2 million. Okay. I'm just going to round up and say 7,500. And again, if we don't get him, we get a comp third round pick next year. So, whatever. If our offer is close to his demand, it shouldn't be too complicated. We'll do 6,250. I don't feel like, haggling over a little bit of money there. Let's see. He wants 800. We'll do 750. Try to save a little bit of money here and there. Hard. I'm just gonna submit whatever their bonus is here. All right, and we are slightly over budget for the year. We're gonna have about close to 17 million in offers with a budget of 15 million, but we were still, I think we still had some wiggle room. Yeah, we definitely do. Accounting should still be okay. Even projected accounting should be okay. Again, this doesn't take potential playoff revenue into account. So, yeah, let's go and anyone under or 18 or under, locking to rookie league ball, and then there's a few guys that can probably jump up to A. Maybe they're all higher in the draft. Or, yeah, I think, well, Adam Rath was one. Did they already stick him in A ball for me? Possibly. Or A plus. No. No? Well, Corbett was who I was thinking of mainly. He can play in A. Yeah, he's going to start in A anyway. Oh, it's because yeah. Some of these guys are in the MLB draft league, right? So that would be why. I think Corbett was one. Rath, still, we have to wait to sign. Bennett, I'm going to let kind of go. He's in the draft league anyway, so whatever. Yeah. And some of these guys with only 2-star potential, I'm going to unlock and let them kind of go where the CPU feels they are best utilized, because I don't want them manually locked here anymore. Yeah. All right. Oh, Eric Stapleton, I missed. Okay. All right. So yeah, we got maybe 3 games till the All-Star break. Let's just go ahead and sim those now, I guess, so we can say, we are at the All-Star break. Win 4-3. I'll watch my. Oh, okay. So Gabe Love has signed already. That's nice. The All-Star game rosters have been announced. So let's see. Drake Baldwin wins the catcher vote over Gabriel Moreno. 2 catcher war versus 2.3. You could make an argument that Baldwin's having a better season for sure. Yeah, let's see if we have any other players on the roster here. So Baldwin made it. Nick Kurtz made it as a DH despite, only putting up .3 WAR in the first half of the season. And then now PCA did not make it, despite finishing second in center field votes. He must have just, the other outfielders got more votes than him. So it was Steven Martinez. Did he make it? He did not. So he must have just missed out as well. Getting a good. He finished third in voting, I believe. Yeah, third in right field voting, which has he actually. He's been playing more of his games in left field, I believe. Yeah, he's played more in left field than in right field. But I guess he's better in right field. I don't know. Anyway, close but no cigar for Steven Martinez. He's having a great year so far. And prospect rosters, Strapadopoulos makes it on. Let's see if there's any other names in here. No, just Straps makes it in. All right, so let's finish versus New York as we lose 1-3. Ferris with a strong game, 0 earned runs, 1 run allowed. Snyder still kind of questionable. Same with Jax. Yeah, I think bullpen is going to be, we have the third best bullpen ERA, and honestly, I'm not sure how. I don't know if it's just largely buoyed by Bourgeois having an excellent year. I mean, Leiter and Fernandez have a good ERA, but their FIP, I don't know if that's going to stand up. We'll see. And then, it's not looking like it's sustainable necessarily, especially like we had a good bullpen going into the playoffs last year, and they didn't always do the most successful against teams like Seattle and Detroit. And you have to imagine if we make the playoffs again this year, we would want some better bullpen arms. So you can never have too many good bullpen arms, I think. I'm trying to look for that. In terms of positions, like strong positions, maybe backup outfielder, maybe first base. Like Cooper Kinney's been solid, but his numbers are starting to dip back down a little bit. Cutter Coffee could play first base as well, and if we find a good third baseman, Perdomo's been decent but not spectacular this year, I'd say. As he's played a few games at second to mostly mediocre results, but he also wasn't fully trained at second either. So I'll see who's out there. So like first, third baseman, maybe DH, as Nick Kurtz has kind of he even dipped down below a 100 OPS plus with that last game, which is not ideal. I think he's been better against righties than lefties, at least. No, he's got a sub OPS against right-handed hitting too. Wow, and I'm pretty sure he's awful against lefties. Oh, he's 86. Okay, so sure. Connor Griffin's still playing well in limited playing time. Yeah, making the most of his limited playing time for sure. He will be getting more playing time. Yeah, he could even play first base potentially. Like, seems like kind of a waste to do that though when he has good outfield defense. I think I'd rather shift some stuff around and like have Keyshaw play first if I'm gonna do that route, and then Griffin in the outfield, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, I just realized we have Keyshaw in left field, or yeah, Keyshaw in left field and Martinez in right field here, and then Martinez in left field and Keyshaw in right field here. So that's kind of my bad, I guess. Yeah, Keyshaw looks like a better left fielder. Martinez looks like a better right fielder. So we're just gonna swap them. Yeah, and then it's at least consistent. Yeah, I mean, I think some of that had to do. No, I don't even think it had to do with the number of games played. Yeah, so Keyshaw just put up better numbers in less games, at least ZR wise, in left field. His arm is good in right field. But then Martinez, yeah, better in right field than left field, with arm roughly the same, slightly better in right field even. So, yeah, this is just a better defensive combination, I think. Probably just a weird aspect of how I put my lineups in to begin with. Either way, we're 52 and 36 at the All Star break. 5 games ahead of the D backs, 5.5 against ahead of the Angels. Wild card spots are currently held by the D backs and the Mariners, with the Angels only a half game behind. Rangers in the mix, Red Sox in the mix. Yeah, let's look at each division. The Orioles are currently leading the AL East. That has been a slugfest every year, I think. They still have a lot of their good young core here. Gunnar Henderson, Samuel Basayo, up and playing catcher now. Kobe Mayo is their first baseman, still doing well. Heston Kierstad is falling off a little bit, but doing solid this year. And yeah, they went out and signed Quinn Priester and Logan Gilbert in the offseason. I'm sure that both of those moves have helped their rotation here, as Priester is their ace, and yeah, the rest of their rotation not that bad either. Carson Wisenhunt is their closer, and he's had a decent season so far, I'd say. Gabe Davis, not that Gabe Davis. Okay, the old closer for the Rockies and Cubs, I believe, was Gabe Davis, among other Royals, Rockies, and Cubs. If I remember my baseball players correctly. All right, the Tigers are tied with us for the first place record in the AL. They're winning their division handily. They're 10.5 games over the Guardians. Yeah, AL South looks like a slugfest again this year. The Royals in the lead. They haven't won the division, I think, since realignment. It's been the Mariners or the Rangers. Yeah, and both of those teams are in the mix still, with the Astros 9 games under 500. The Braves and the Nationals, I think they were going at it last year at the All-Star break. That is the case. Again, no, it was the Braves and the Expos last year, but the Expos are in the mix too. Marlins, not so much. Brewers, Cubs going for the top of the NL Central, with the Stars and Cardinals lagging behind. Padres have a 2.5 game lead over the Rockies, and the 3 game lead over the Dodgers. all three of those teams in the mix, and then the Mets have a comfortable lead in the NL Atlantic over the Reds, Phillies, and Pirates, who are all doing pretty bad this year. Wild card spots currently going to the Cubs and the Rockies, with the Dodgers a half game out. So, um, yeah, again, we'll probably look for bullpen help, maybe first base, third base. Any interesting names? I'll look at the trading block first and see. We looked at Aaron Judge. If we go by batting stats in WAR, Jace Young is still out there. Still 2 years. Well, we'd have to pay him this year and next year. But he's putting up good numbers. What would it take to get him? Probably more than I'd be willing to give. Jose Ramirez, now playing first base for Cleveland, still putting up. Oh, he actually left Cleveland, so he briefly went to the Angels and then came back to Cleveland. Did they trade him or did he sign? They let him go to free agency. Okay, so he rejected the qualifying offer, became a free agent, and then signed a 2-year deal after that. Yeah, that's a weird one. Then signed a 1-year deal for $12 million. Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument he's had potentially a Hall of Fame worthy career, 17 years. Yeah, would the Guardians trade him? Maybe. I mean, they're 5 games under 500. Would I want him is the better question. And the answer is kind of. It depends on what the price would be, and the price doesn't look awful. Someone like Zane Burns, who, by the way, yeah, Zane Burns is looking decent, and he was a 20th round pick for us in 2029, so 2 years ago. That's fun. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, he's gotten some good TCR over the years. Wow. Yeah. He's got some really good TCR, and he's now like a somewhat legit player, kind of knocking on the door of maybe being big league viable. It's always fun when those kind of stories happen with 20th round picks, especially. Yeah, Kurtz. I mean, we could just straight up trade Kurtz. It's tempting considering we have to pay him the next 2 years. But yeah, we could also trade Snelling. I mean, I don't think that's realistic for what a team would actually do. You wouldn't see them sign a guy to a long extension and then immediately trade him in the next season, most likely. Seiya Suzuki playing catcher for Atlanta. What happened here? Um, he learned a new position at the Cubs development complex and apparently became a catcher. Okay. Sure. Seiya Suzuki as catcher for the Braves. Yeah. And yet Cooper Kinney can't become a catcher. Okay. Say that 5 times fast. Austin Riley. Yeah, like he looks. But he's owed a lot of money. Well, he's got a team option for next year. And he is vetoing that trade. Okay, so he doesn't want to play for us. If he doesn't want to play for us, we don't want him here. So, yeah. Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, that's an interesting name. But his injuries proneness is wrecked. He is signed for 2 years. He's also vetoing that trade. Okay. The Braves players just don't like us for some reason. Vaughn Grissom, he plays second. I don't really. Yeah. Not a lot of intriguing names out here, so I might poke around. Let's see, pitching wise, if there's who's out there. Um, Also, let's sort by war, just because a lot of starting pitchers, a few decent looking guys. Someone like Tanner Scott is potentially an option. Yeah, but like Texas wouldn't be trading Tanner Scott most likely. In yeah, so I'm not gonna make that trade. They're in wild card contention. I don't think they'd trade Tanner Scott unless they got a big league caliber player back for him, and I don't really want to give that up. Hmm. Brian Baker, Joe Jimenez, Tanner Banks for Arizona. Yeah, I don't really want to trade with Arizona. Peyton Remy for the Expos, having a solid season. They're one game under 500, but would maybe, you know, be sellers in a tough division. Yeah, but none of these players I particularly want to give up. uh, yeah, and there's a lot of like, you know, I'm not trading for Nick Lodolo when he has 11 months left on his injury. Like, that's just silly. All right. Vegas, Carson Coleman. How about win probability added? Shane Baz, there's a name. Doing really well for St. Louis this year. He played for us in 2029, if you recall. Then was a free agent, signed with Texas, and signed with St. Louis this offseason. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep looking around here. I'll let you know if I find any good trades here. Yeah, we'll be trading for somebody. I just don't know who yet. What's gonna make sense? We don't have a lot of top prospects, both that I'd want to give or uh, would be able to give for like top end talent. All three of these guys in AAA here are not guys I want to trade. And then, yeah, if they take someone like JD Dix or Marcus Phillips, maybe even Wade Shelley. I mean, he's got good trade value, but I'm not sure. So I'll look around. I'll let you know if I find any good trade options, and yeah, we'll go from there. As Adam Rath, now in our minor leagues, he will start at A+. He could almost start at AA, but He'll start at A plus. If he does well in his first like few starts, I might bump him up to double A right away, but we'll start him there. And yeah, I'll let you know when I have more news. All right, so first trade, not exactly a blockbuster trade here. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to go out and make a bunch of crazy win now moves unless I can really get someone good in return. This one, it kind of feels just like making a trade for the sake of making a trade, but oh well. I think this one makes sense for both sides. Brandon Fott is on the Marlins. He's under contract for 2 more years, not owed that much money, putting up pretty decent numbers. If you look at his underlying FIP for the year too, it's a little high, but still FIP minus is good. He's been pretty consistently around average or under league average in terms of FIP. Yeah, even though his ERA has been a little high the last few years, he's been used more as a starter than as a reliever. I think he probably projects as more of a reliever now, but could start in a pinch. And those type of guys are not bad to have. We're giving up a few decent players for him, highlighted by David Osuna, who's only a two-star potential player, but is only 21 years old too, and putting up good numbers in Double A. So I don't super love giving him up, but then everyone else that's kind of in this deal is more of a throw-in type. Austin Irby looks decent too, and he's putting up good numbers at Double A, but again, probably a quad A type of player. So I think this makes sense for both sides. Brandon Fod is unhappy in his place on the Marlins, who are quite bad this year. They're 38 and 51. They're near the bottom of the league in terms of record. Yeah, this makes sense for them. They cut some salary. They get back at least one decent looking player in Osuna and a few guys that can play maybe at the major league level. So, yeah, we're going to go and do this. And I'll just go ahead and show roster. So, like, my bullpen is still in a weird spot where there's a few guys like Brock Burke, Cam Leiter, who have good ERAs but really bad FIPS on the season. And so I kind of struggle. Griffin Jacks kind of has both. It does have options. I mean, that seems. I think that's what I'm going to do, though. Like, in terms of objectively, ERA and FIP, he's been one of my worst relievers this season. So, yeah, he's going to get sent down to the minors. He refuses to be demoted. Okay. Well, then. We might have to go shopping and see what we can get for him. Okay, so kind of a sad day here as our former closer, Griffin Jacks, getting flipped here. He just, I think, wasn't the same after that Seattle series last year. Yeah, just not a great ERA, not great overall this season. His ratings have gone down a little bit too. Our scout thinks he's slightly worse than OSA does, but I'd put more faith in our scout personally. He's likely not going to reach that vesting option. He hasn't come close to finishing 35 games. But, yeah, I think this makes sense. He needs a change of scenery, I think. We get back, not a great prospect, but at least an intriguing one with Gustavo Herrera. He is 24, but he's two-star potential, has put up decent-ish numbers across the low minors. He's going to walk a lot of guys, but again, this is kind of the archetype that I keep finding where if that control gets up, he becomes a monster. So, yeah, we're going to stash him in the minors for a little bit and have him keep working on his control. He could maybe see the big league level at some point. And yeah, Griffin Jack's no longer on the team. I'm sure this will not be a fan favorite move. Um, yeah, as Herrera will be moving here. Yeah, it's sad to see him go, but I think it was time. Brandon Fott will join the roster now, and we'll go ahead and lock Herrera in place at. They have him at AAA. I'm going to put him at AA to start, given that he hasn't done anything above high A yet in his career. And I'm also going to change it so they have him focusing on movement, and we're going to, do one of these and have him going fully into control with some movement. Oh my god, these sliders are going crazy. All right. Fully in control, some movement. And stamina's kind of whatever. He's already at 25 stamina, so what's going to happen there? All right. Yeah, well, we'll roll with this for a little bit and see as Brandon Fott will slot into, we'll say, long relief. Yeah. Levi Sterling will shift down to middle relief, and Brandon Fott will be a long reliever for us, with a chance to work in middle relief as well. Okay, and we're going to roll with this. All right, so July 27th, we are currently 7 games ahead of the D-backs. They're still hanging in there. Both the D-backs and the Angels, we have the best record in the AL, 1 game behind the Mets for the best record in the NL, or the league in general. But I still feel like, the D-backs are still within shouting distance. I'm not exactly feeling confident that we're going to run away with the division, even though our numbers look pretty good overall. Like, I don't want to overreact, but I also don't want to do nothing and just kind of, let some of these teams climb back in it. So what I'm going to do, we had Vera struggling at the big league level across 11 innings pitched. He put up a 6.35 ERA, so I sent him back down. Bautista struggling a little bit, his last 2 starts, he gave up 5 earned runs, 4 earned runs. Like, he hasn't been bad this year, but definitely a far cry from how he was last year. So we're going to try moving him to the pen, bringing back up Strapadopoulos. He's still putting up great numbers in AAA. He did not have a good time his first time up. We'll see how it goes this time as our 5th starter. Imanaga kind of on watch too, as he gave up 6 earned runs in his last start. And in fact, if there is a back end rotation guy out there that we can grab, that might make sense as like a big type of move. I should probably note too, Drake Baldwin's hurt with a day-to-day injury. He's fine now. Gulkison, who was the impossible signing, did take our offer, so he's in our minors now. That's become a decent strategy for me, just targeting those guys in the 2nd and 3rd round, getting good value out of them since we have some extra cash to spend still. Zach Poole, Adam Franklin. I don't think either of those guys, I've been, a little aggressive, I think, in terms of promoting guys from the rookie league. But I think all of these guys that just signed, as Adam Rath got hurt. Okay. Sorry, sidetracked there. All the guys that just signed, I still do want to start in rookie league ball. But there were a few guys that were in rookie league ball that I went ahead and bumped up to A. Dupuis being one of them. Alex Rivera being another, who are kind of on the borderline, might struggle a bit at A, but I mean, my rookie league roster is starting to get pretty clogged here, I think, and I think some of those guys you need to challenge anyway for them to keep progressing. So, if you look at their ratings against A League ball, they're not bad. Lots of 40s and 45s. He's only got 1.5 star potential, but this should at least play decently well, and hopefully will allow him to keep progressing as his overalls went up, his potential went down a little bit. That's kind of to be expected with a lot of these prospects. Same with Rivera. He had good numbers at rookie league ball, and I think he projects, decently well. He's got 2.5 star potential against A. So we're going to keep challenging him to improve. Even though he's only 17, he does have 3-star potential. And this was a random scouting discovery, too. So nice job, Scout. Ed Cajada, our Scout. All right. Yeah, so I am curious to see Barantes. Not the Barantes we just traded for. No, that was Herrera. My bad. As he's putting up good numbers at AA so far. Might even look to bring him up to AAA. I mean, that's really small sample size, but yeah. He's a guy that, given how our bullpen has looked so far, he might get a shot here, especially when September call-ups happen. Yeah, Brandon Pfaadt has been good. Again, very limited sample size, only one game, but no earned runs, so let's keep that up. And let me see Adam Rath. I'm curious to see how severe his injury was, because he was dealing. I wanted to give him one more start at A+ before potentially bumping him up to AA, but now we're going to have to see what his injury looks like here. Enough to go on the injured list. Shoulder inflammation, 6 months. Okay, so his season's done. That's frustrating potentially, but yeah. Scott Stanley, I swear I put him at A ball and they keep bumping him up to A+. Like, I want him at A, guys. Do I just have too many catchers at A, I assume? As Aiden Roberts is at A+ too. What the hell? Did I just pick the wrong league? I mean, he could potentially play at A+. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I thought I said A and they put him at A+ for some reason. There's not any particularly good catching prospects blocking either of them, but that's fine for now. That's fine. Okay. It is July 28th, too, as we won our last game 2-0. The top of our rotation, by the way, has been still excellent. Swim, Ferris, Bello were not the three names I expected to see at the top of my rotation at the start of the year, but, they've been doing well. And we're 4 weeks away from getting Gavin Jones back as well. So end of August, beginning of September, we'll definitely welcome him back. Yeah, I'll look around and see if there's a starter out there that makes sense. Getting Gavin Jones back at the end of the season is also a big boon, because then we could go in with Jones, Swim, Ferris, Bello as our 4-man rotation and be relatively fine with Imanaga or Straps or even Batista as another starter if one of those guys got hurt. So a guy that I trade for would have to be better than one of those guys to make sense, I think. Otherwise, we're probably still looking for bullpen help, probably just looking for good hitters. I did take a look again at, for Cleveland, Jose Ramirez, but he's got a no trade clause. He doesn't want to go anywhere. That's fair. I mean, he's probably near the back end of his career and wants to finish it with Cleveland, I imagine, after playing almost his entire career there, minus a brief stint with the Angels. I'll let him kind of retire in peace, even though the Guardians, well, I was going to say they aren't going anywhere, but they're 500, so they are still within shouting distance of a playoff spot, only 2 games back from the D-backs. So, yeah, I'll look around, see if there's any more trades that make sense. Otherwise, I'll see you at the trade deadline. So I found a starting pitching trade that I really like here. Trading for Brennan Sieber from the Expos. He is, I don't know if he's a real life player or not. He was drafted in 2026 in the second round. He's been good for them this year. Put up 2.7 WAR, ERA under 4. Was good last year for San Francisco. His underlying numbers look good, FIP wise. And he's 26. Still not getting paid a lot of money. Still not even arbitration eligible, I don't think. Yeah, so. And in terms of what we have to give up to get him, we're giving up Colin Snyder, which he's been, underwhelming this year so far, I'd say, in our bullpen after being really good last year, but, bullpen arms kind of volatile. And then Jojo Parker, who projects as a 2.5-star potential player and has been doing decently well across AA and AAA, but, probably not going to see big league time for us this season. Yeah, that's not very much, I think, to get a starter that's been doing really well. And, I could maybe even say this is a fleece of the computer, potentially, unless I'm really missing out on something on either Parker or Snyder. But, yeah, I mean, Sieber should slot right into our rotation. Yeah, no real downside to this trade, I think. So we're going to do it. And Sieber will slot into our rotation. The question is, who slots out of our rotation? I haven't yet allowed Strapidopoulos to pitch at the big league level. Imanaga's been struggling. He could go to a long relief role and bump either Bautista or Fott down to a middle relief role. I think that's what we're going to go with for now. And then Bautista or Fott. I'll put Fott down to middle relief for now, and then secondary long relief. Imanaga. Yeah, both of these guys could be used as emergency starting pitchers. And we'll slot in Brennan Sieber, who, numbers-wise, let's see. Yeah, looks roughly equivalent to Bello. Bello's had a slightly better ERA. Sieber's had a better FIP. Has also pitched more. I'll leave him at the 4 spot for now. That should be fine. Yeah, so let's see how this new look rotation does. As we are 8 games up on the D-backs, I'm still looking to see if there's another good impact bat that we can add, or even just someone on the trading block who looks decent. Dylan Dingler. Yeah, I'm not looking to trade with the Raiders, especially for a catcher, one of the few positions that we're actually good at. Don't want to trade with Arizona, really. I think Austin Riley was vetoing that trade. Yeah. Same with Acuna, was not wanting to go to us. Don't see what their big deal is about not wanting to go to our team. Oh yeah, catcher Seiya Suzuki. Forgot about that. I mean, we could play him not at catcher. I don't know why you would play him at catcher, honestly. Yeah, I mean, let's see what I can find here. If there's a workable trade for Suzuki, maybe. All right, so we are at July 31st. It is the trading deadline. I didn't end up making that move for Suzuki. Just there wasn't a trade that made sense. Um, yeah, in terms of what we were giving up to get him, and also it's worth noting too. As I'll go here to manager's office. De Jesus was player of the week this past week, and he's still crushing in AAA. Still looking really good, honestly. Like, pretty close to being big league ready, if not being able to be big league ready right now. Like, he's projected as a decent hitter. His fielding still needs work. Obviously, he would be more of a DH type, but when we have him waiting in the wings, as well as Zimmerman, who is not quite as crushing or as effective as De Jesus has been, but still, again, projecting pretty good. We have two of those DH types kind of waiting in the wings. I think both of them have a pretty good chance of being called up in September. Trading for a 30-year-old catcher Seiya Suzuki, I don't think makes sense over just playing one of those guys. So, so no other moves in the immediate future. Brennan Sieber, in his first start with us, went 6 strong innings, only giving up 2 hits and 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts. It's what we like to see. And yeah, I think we'll just go into the trading deadline. I did put a bunch of guys on the block that are kind of, 25 and older, and I don't particularly, I wouldn't mind getting rid of them necessarily if the right offer presented itself. We'll kind of see if there's interesting offers out there for any of those guys or for anyone else, really. But we're going to head into the trade deadline, not really looking necessarily to make any moves. But we'll do it live, and we'll see if any moves, interesting moves, get offered out there. Garrett Clivinger goes to Seattle. Let's see if there's any other interesting trades out there. Jose Soriano was one that I thought about trading for, as he has had a decent year. I think his FIP was not good, which is what scared me off of him, but he was good for Seattle last year. He's been good for Miami so far this year. O'Neill Cruz goes to the D-backs. He's not having a great year. Hopefully that's subtraction by addition for them there, as I don't know how that helps your team necessarily. Nelson Rada goes to the Red Sox from Texas. He's currently a prospect in the Angels organization. Yeah, and in 2026 they DFA'd him. Okay. They DFA'd him, kept him in the complex, and then traded him to the Stars. No, the Stars expansion drafted him. Okay, so that's why that name sounds familiar. I think he was a name that we were looking at potentially drafting when we did the expansion draft way back when. Jared Jones to the Rockies for Ariel Dehigo. Okay. Yeah, he's fallen off a bit, it looks like, and is signed through 2033. Oh, he just signed an extension through 2034. Don't love that. Okay. So we'll go ahead and advance the trading deadline. Will New York move Norby? He was someone that was already, Connor Norby was on the block last year, signed as a free agent, and is on the block again this year, having a pretty mediocre season so far. Let's see. No deals for us yet, as we do have a few more moves made. Let's see. Justin Martinez to the Expos. So the Expos loading up on pitching. Weirdly, are they trying to make a run? I don't know. Frankie Montas to the Cubs for Pablo Aliendo. So just trading a catcher for a pitcher. I guess the Guardians might need a catcher potentially. The Cubs, first in bullpen ERA, so they don't necessarily need any more bullpen help. But maybe they feel they're good at catcher. He was their starting catcher. Okay. Interesting trade by the Cubs there. All right. Let's continue the trading deadline day. Still no deals out there. And Ranger Suarez goes to the Cubs. So starting pitching for some minor leaguers, as Ranger Suarez has done okay this season. Not the greatest, but not the worst either. Yeah, I mean, this might be a pretty boring trade deadline. I don't really feel the need to go out and do anything. Let me just look again at the trade block. Josh Smith, I know he's been putting up decent numbers, but really low sample size. JD Dix, who we had, yeah, very low sample size. He's been playing in AAA for us after claiming him on waivers. Buddy Kennedy, AAA. Marcel Ozuna, I both don't like him as a person and don't like him as a player. And when he's 40 years old, so pass. Arenado has negative WAR despite a positive OPS. Are they playing him in the field? Maybe. Yeah, he's played a few games at first base and a few games at second. Okay, why would you ever start him at second base with a 35? Okay, anyway. Sure, just for the sake of maybe making a deal, what would it cost to get Nolan Arenado as like a backup bat? Too much. Yeah, all of these are guys that I would not want to trade for a 40-year-old Nolan Arenado. Yeah, this might just be a very boring trade deadline. Ketel Marte is someone I would be interested in, but again, I don't know if I want to trade with the D-backs, and it would cost too much to get him. Yeah. I think pretty much everyone that's out there, I'd just rather go with someone from my minor leagues or... Yeah, there's just no like grabby players, like guys that grab me, I guess. There's probably a better term for that, but yeah, I poked around some of these rosters here. Ellie De La Cruz, I mean, he signed through 2037. I don't necessarily want to take on the back half of that deal. Tristan Casas, he signed through 2034. Yeah, the Reds just have a lot of bad contracts, I think. Adolfo Sanchez, he looks like decent outfield depth. Sometimes it feels like I just want to make a move for the sake of making a move, but like none of these moves even make sense. Miguel Blaze I would do, but I doubt they will trade him for anything worthwhile. Yeah. What about if I threw in yeah, that's too much. I think we're hanging tight at the trade deadline, barring us getting a good offer here. Yeah, just no. There's nothing out there. I mean, we made a few moves. We were also, doing quite well before the trade deadline and have several intriguing options in the minors. So we're going to just stick with what we have. We did get some trade proposals right at the end of the trade deadline here. Let's see. Everson Pereira for Connor Griffin and Justin Grant. Pass. Hard pass. Rich here. He at least looks interesting. But they want Eddie Rainville for him. See, like, that's the type of trade that I would, consider giving up someone else for Rich here. But Eddie Rainville, I still haven't given up on you, Eddie. Even though that control may never develop, yeah, we're done with the trading deadline. As we will go officially into August. And I think we finished the month of July with a pretty good record. Yeah, let's see. Kevin Davison up to 2 overall in Double A. Like to see that. His control's looking halfway decent as well. Up to a 30. Yeah, let's see him continue developing. I just want to see that control come up a little bit more. If you can get it up to fully that 40 potential and then see the stuff and movement develop as well, like, that's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. As Carlos Castillo, he looks like, more reliever depth. Grabbed him off the waiver wire. No harm in, testing that out. And yeah, July we went 15-10. Pretty solid month, I'd say. And we stand currently with an 8.5 game lead over the Angels. Both the Angels and the A's have been kind of hanging in there. Both of them should compete for a wild card spot, I say, as they are currently both in the lead for the wild card spots, with the Red Sox and Guardians hanging around as well. And right now, the Rangers and Mariners are on the outside looking in, as the Royals continue their surge to the top of the AL South. Padres looking good. Brewers, Braves, and Nationals duking it out for the NL East. Currently tied. One of those teams will probably make it in as a wild card. Well, no, actually, the Dodgers and Rockies both have better records than both of those teams. So one of those teams may make it in as a wild card, but far from guaranteed. So I'll look at rosters and stuff and just make sure that everything makes sense. Going into August, DeJesus probably will get a September call-up. Probably won't get a call-up before then, barring injury. I'll look and see if it makes sense to promote any guys in the minors, all that good stuff. But yeah, otherwise, we're going to keep simming through. I'm interested to see how Strapidopoulos does. Yeah, maybe I'll show that if it's particularly intriguing. But yeah, sorry for the not that exciting trade deadline, but when you are, first in the league and have a pretty decent all-around team, there's not a lot of moves that necessarily make sense to make. So we're staying where we are. Made some minor improvements with our rotation and potentially reliever depth, and maybe did some addition by subtraction, getting rid of Snyder and Jax in our bullpen, who have both struggled so far. Yeah, we'll see how this goes the rest of the season. Okay, so just cutting in here on August 6th, this was Strapidopoulos' next start, and not exactly what you want to see. He gave up 6 earned runs. Jackson Merrill hit 3 home runs in this game. Yeah. Imanaga and Fod, not great in relief either. Yeah. ERA up to a 9.72 in the big leagues. It's a rough go for our top pitching prospect. Yeah, we might see Bautista or Imanaga slot back into the starting rotation sooner rather than later. Maybe I'll give him one more start. But yeah, we can't afford to be putting him out there if that's what he's going to do. Okay, so our first injury in a bit, Adrian Santana out for 2 weeks with a herniated disc. We've been doing well so far in August. Yeah, I mean, really well in August, honestly. 12-3, and one of those was a disastrous Strapidopoulos outing. Everything else pretty good overall. Yeah, so In terms of injury replacements, I think this is a time to potentially bring up not DeJesus yet. Montero's been good, but no, I think Sharpton's going to come back up and slot in maybe at second base for us. He'll for sure get time at second base. Yeah, we're gonna readjust the roster here slightly. Likely Volpe will play starting shortstop, and then I'll mix in, yeah, maybe Sharpton to get some additional time at second base. Let me see how this is going to work real quick. So yeah, Sharpton is going to slot in as our everyday second baseman. Volpe moving over to shortstop, and Perdomo can play a passable backup shortstop. No issues there. So yeah, both lefties and righties, Sharpton will be starting. He'll get a little bit of a chance to show what he can do, as Santana will be coming back right about in time for the September call-ups. Still will need to figure out exactly what I'm doing there, but likely it's going to be DeJesus coming up. He's continued to hit well. He deserves some time at the big league level. Beyond that, probably just adding some guys to my 40-man that could potentially see playoff time. Maybe waiving guys like Zapata, depending on what I want to do. Could we see Zimmerman come up as well? Maybe. Yeah, and guys like Clevenger, who are Rule 5 eligible next year, we might just go ahead, even though his stats at AAA haven't been amazing this year, we might see what he can do down the stretch here. You know, that's kind of how we used Karsten Swim last year, and he's rewarded us in a big way this year by stepping in and being our best starter. Speaking of starters, too, Gavin Jones only 1 week away from coming back from his injury, so he'll get some rehab time in the minors, but looking forward to having him back in the rotation as well. But we're going to keep going, and probably barring injuries, the next time I'll cut in will be at the September call-ups, so I'll see you then. Alright, so we're actually to September 2nd, the day after call-ups here. A few things to note. First, who we actually called up, we're going to a 6-man rotation because we are out to a 12-game lead now in the division, still comfortable. And I like doing this at the end of the year to hopefully prevent some of these guys from getting hurt. We do have Gavin Jones back from injury, about to make his first start. I'll go ahead and do that on camera here so you can see. He made 2 rehab starts. First went better than the second, but you know, I'm still ready to bring him back up and into the rotation here. Strapadopoulos has also been doing better. You know, he's had 3 solid starts, you know, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 innings, 0 earned runs, 4 2/3, 2 earned runs. So we're going to keep him in the rotation for now. His ERA is down to 5.77, which, considering where it was at before, not too shabby. So yeah, our other pitcher that we brought up, in addition to Gavin Jones, is Dasan Hill. He'll slot in and be probably a middle reliever for us. Maybe do some long relief. He was a little mediocre the first time up, but not bad overall. For now, we did go ahead and bring up Santana. Came back from injury and then made 1 rehab start and immediately got hurt again with a moderate injury. We want him healthy for the playoffs, so he's back on the IL for 2 weeks. So that means that both Zimmerman and DeJesus get a chance to show what they can do at the big league level. They were our 2 best hitters at AAA. Yeah, and I've mixed it in so both will get time at DH against right-handed hitters, with Kurtz, you know, doing okay but not amazing. And then he doesn't hit lefties as well, so they'll both split time there as the starter over Kurtz. So I'm interested to see how that goes exactly. Yeah. And we also did our 40 man's full. We waived Zapata to make room for Clevenger's on the 40 man in case I want to bring him up. We also put on Herrera, the kind of intriguing reliever that we traded for Griffin Jacks. Yeah, and he'd been putting up solid numbers in Double A, so he's at Triple A right now. I don't think there were any other notable ads. We do still have Wade Shelley, Zion Rose, and Gamble in the minors kind of as backup, as well as Bodine if we need a catcher. So that's where our 40 man stands. 82 and 49 here at the start of September. Should be in comfortable position. We do want to maintain our, we're neck and neck with the Tigers for the top record in baseball, as the Mets have fallen off a little bit and no one else is really within shouting distance. So as long as we maintain one of those top two spots, we'll be fine. But ideally, you'd like to get the number one seed just because it's nice to go into the playoffs as the number one seed. And also, I do have it set where the playoffs will reseed based on whoever the lowest seed is that's left. So if someone like the D-backs or the Mariners or the Rangers pulls an upset of, well, it wouldn't be the Tigers, but someone like the Orioles or whoever ends up winning the AL South, I mean, that debatably wouldn't be that much of an upset. But anyway, yeah, you'd like to be the number one seed still coming out of the regular season. So we keep going in September, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Gonna try to rest guys down the stretch too once we for sure have the division locked up. I mean, we're in pretty good shape at the moment with our magic number being 21, but once we're 100% locked up, we will bring these pitch counts down even more. We will start resting guys on a regular basis, guys like Baldwin, PCA, Volpe, even Keyshaw, who's had a good season so far. Will get plenty of rest so that they are healthy come playoff time. And Santana for sure too. Once he's back from injury, he will be resting on a regular basis as well to avoid re-aggravating that same injury. So, yeah, we'll keep going in September, see how it goes. Okay, September 19th. We are in still a comfortable lead, just a game back of the Tigers for the overall lead in the AL. So hopefully we can finish the season strong there. Also, both Keyshaw and Armstrong leading the AL in stolen bases. Like to see that. Both of those guys, very skilled base stealers. Bello near the lead in wins as well. Yeah, like to see all that. We got Santana back from injury finally. Triple A's not in session anymore, so he'll just rejoin the big league roster. It was a minimal injury anyway, so that should be fine. He'll slot back in as our starting at shortstop. Volpe will slide back into second base. Did do a little rearranging too. Zimmerman went back down because out of the two, him and DeJesus, he had not hit as well as DeJesus had. So DeJesus actually doing quite well overall. 164 OPS plus. Very, very limited sample size, but still, that's very encouraging. Yeah, not too many other drastic changes here in the lineup. Against righties anyway. Against lefties, Sharpton's settling in nicely. His OPS plus overall isn't great, but he is hitting lefties well, so he will get the nod over Cutter Coffee for now at first base, since Volpe slid back into second. And DeJesus will be our starting DH with Baldwin and Kurtz backing up against lefties because, yeah, he's absolutely crushing left-handed pitching right now, and I want to keep his bat in the lineup for that. So we are going to keep going with this. Magic number is 6 for clinching the division. Once we officially clinch, I'll, again, go into more of a load management style of play to kind of finish out the regular season. So, have we officially clinched a playoff spot yet? Looks like no, as we still do have a good amount of games in September to go, but Detroit has. They've clinched their division. In fact, we're getting there. We're close. So I'll cut back in once we officially do, and assuming that we do. Again, don't want to take it for granted. Um, yeah, Sinja too has kind of turned things around to have a good season. I know he had a rough start to the season, but you know, glad that he's still doing well somewhere, even though it's not for us. All right. Anyway, I'll cut back in once we are closer to the end of the season. September 25th, and we have officially clinched the division. 11 and a half game lead over the D-backs, 94-58. An excellent season. The Tigers are rolling, though. They're going to be a tough team to face in the playoffs, led by Tariq Skubal, of course. He's, age 34, still throwing well. Touchdown in WAR from where he was last season. It looks like he was probably hurt this season. Yeah, shoulder inflammation, missed 4 months of the season. So, what we've done here is pitch counts are down. We're still sticking with the 6-man rotation. And then against righties, PCA, Volpe, Baldwin all getting regular rest. With Volpe and Perdomo also rotating in to take starts from Coffee and Santana. Keyshaw, I'll probably get Keyshaw some rest as well. Just trying to get regular rest for all these guys as we approach the end of the season. Just trying to keep guys healthy. We are at 94-58 with, let's see, that's a 4-game series, so 10 games left to go. So if we win 6 of our last 10, we will officially be 100-game winners for the season. So very doable. Let's see if we can make it happen here. Probably not much else exciting before the end of the season. So let's see. I'll just sim these live. Why not? As we'll go ahead and go to the next day. Las Vegas. Oh, losing extras. Okay. Sieber goes strong. Bourgeois actually blows the save. Only his 3rd blown save on the season, which, by the way, our bullpen WAR or ERA is 2nd. Starter ERA is up to 1st. That's nice. I didn't even realize that, but I think it's largely because of Bourgeois. Like, our other relievers haven't been amazing this year. Bourgeois has. He's got 2.3 pitcher WAR as a reliever. Like, if he doesn't win reliever of the year, I don't even know. Like, who? Johan Duran, like, maybe. He's got more saves. And then Gerald Rosado. I mean, he looks good. He should at least compete, I think, for reliever of the year. He's had a very good season ever since stepping into the closer role. Honestly, before that, which is why he stepped into the closer role. So Strapidopoulos still kind of hovering between good and bad starts. I mean, even his bad starts weren't that bad. Let's see how he does against Vegas here. That's a win in 10, 8-3 in 10. So someone just completely blew up. It looks like Michael Kennedy, and also Luli Cabrera. Just completely melted down in the 10th inning. Let's see here. 5 games away from 100 wins. As we lose again to Vegas, Karsten Svem goes 5 1/3 with no earned runs. Like to see that. Our bullpen does give up a few, as we don't score any. We win against the Angels 8-7 as Chance Mako retires. He was kind of one of those quad A guys that never really got a chance. Um, is Elian De La Cruz? Yeah, he was a guy that I think I thought about. No, he was our Rule 5 pick. That's right. Who didn't end up making the team. I was like, that name sounds familiar. He's still on our Rule 5 shortlist, which is why we're getting updates about him. Which, by the way, that reminds me, I should show after this finishes and saves. Ooh, okay. This is why you rest guys down the stretch. Although Martinez was not one that we looked to rest. Out for 6 weeks with a strained groin. That will likely cause him to miss the rest of the season. I mean, I'll put him on just the 10-day IL for now, but that's brutal. Okay. We'll bring back up Zimmerman to take that slot, and now we have a hole in right field. Well, our starting right fielder should be Griffin, I think. But we'll probably have. Who could play right field even on our team? Obviously, Griffin can. Keyshaw can. Probably move him to right and then have maybe DeJesus take some time at left. I don't love that, but I think that's, we've only got a few games left to the end of the season, and yeah, I want Griffin still getting regular time in center field, giving PCA rest. So we're going to do that for now. Keyshaw moves to right, and we'll switch this so every fifth, every second. Actually, that can just be whenever. And then DeJesus slots in, and then against righties, same thing. Keyshaw will go to right field, DeJesus in left field, and then I guess we'll just have Baldwin DH. Kurt's backing up. Yeah, obviously I'm going to go through and fix all these lineups once we get into the playoffs, but just to make it through the end of the regular season, trying to prevent any more injuries from happening. Yeah, so we'll see. We do want to win 100 games, though. So we want to finish the year strong. As Detroit's already made it to 100 games, so they've pretty much wrapped up the first seed in the AL. I think we're pretty locked into the second. But I'm going to keep these lineups going just because I want to see us win 100 games as we lose. Okay, so we'll have to win our last 4 in a row to get to 100 games on the season. Yeah, let's see if we can do it. Sieber wins. Okay, 97 wins. Strapidopoulos loss. Okay, so we cannot get to 100 wins anymore. That was a solid start too. I mean, not amazing, but solid. Swim wins. Oh, are we going to finish one game short? No, we lose to Arizona in extras, in what is probably a very meaningful game for them, but not really for us. Yeah, I mean, that clinched a wild card spot for them. Okay, so finished today, and the playoffs have officially begun. So, final standings are here. Yeah, Detroit is overall the first seed. We are going to be the second seed, which means we will still get the first round bye. With 98 wins, yeah, would have been the first seed in the NL easy, but the AL is just a little more stacked this year. So, AL East, the Yankees win the division by 1 game over the Orioles. The Orioles missing out on a wild card spot by 3 games. So, yeah, it was win or out for the AL East, and Yankees came out on top. They will probably be a pesky team to face in the playoffs, and hopefully we won't be the ones to face them. We'll see. Tigers obviously look great, first in every major offensive category. Yeah, led by, let's see, Riley Green had a great season, 7 WAR. Who else? Let's just see who led their team in WAR. Why not? We'll do it this way. Ryan Gibson, their star shortstop, still crushing it. He got hurt in our series last year, so you know, hopefully we won't have to face him this year. Colt Keith had a great season. Brian Miller looks like he kind of came out of nowhere as a rookie, maybe. Yeah, rookie drafted in 2029. So that would have been after us, because we had the second pick in 2029, I believe. When was the year we drafted Strapodopoulos? Yeah, 2029. We drafted him second overall. I'd be interested to see, by the way, I haven't gone back to look and see how our other, it was a hot debate between him and Tommy. I don't remember his last name, but well, I'm thinking about it. 2029, we'll do draft round 1. Yeah, sort by draft pick. That's probably easier. Okay. Tommy Visconti, that was it. Okay, so Tommy Visconti was, where's the first overall pick? Must not have signed, I'm guessing, whoever that was. Visconti went to Minnesota at number 3, and he, has done decently well in the minors so far. Got a little bit of playing time. So kind of following a similar path to Strapodopoulos so far, where hasn't had much major league time yet. Struggling a little bit in the time he's received, but yeah. Anyway, as I get sidetracked there. Yeah, the Tigers look very good, and hopefully we don't have to face them, but if I had to put money on it, there's a decent chance that we will. The D-backs also make it in as a wild card. They had a nice surge there. I think they started off the year kind of slow. Yeah, 10-12 in April, then 14-14 in May, and then just got consistently better as the year went on. 4-1 in October. Yeah, they could be a dangerous wildcard team. Texas ends up winning the AL South over the Royals, but the Royals do make it in as a wild card. That's the first time I think I've seen them in the playoffs for a bit. Let me see. Have they? No, they did not make it in any of the other years I've actually played. They've hovered around 500 every year, but this is the first year they've been good enough to actually make it in, it looks like. So welcome back to the playoffs, Royals. Again, hopefully we don't have to face you, but I mean, we're going to have to face one of these teams, right? It's going to be, we're not going to face the Tigers, but it's going to be the Yankees, the D-backs, Rangers, or Royals, because those are the 4 teams that will play in the first round. In the NL East, the Expos end up coming out on top, which, by the way, JoJo Parker, which they have been playing right field, but put up 1.2 WAR across just 48 games, 28 games started for them. So, yeah, he was red hot to end the season. You could even say so far they've won that trade, despite Sieber being pretty dang good for us, like 1.2 pitcher WAR. Yeah, it ended up working out pretty well in their favor. So go Expos. Like, I think they were 4 games under 500 when we made that trade, and they just surged. Yeah, I guess they were around 500. Maybe the rest of their division kind of fell apart. Yeah, okay. That seems to be more what happened, as the Braves and Nationals both finish under 500. The Brewers win the NL Central. Nashville Stars miss out on the division crown by 3.5 games, but they do make it in as a wild card. That might be the first in their franchise history. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think they made it in the playoffs either. Yeah, they've been pretty bad throughout their entire history. So congrats to our expansion team counterparts, the Stars, led by Christian Zazueta, who I poked around to getting at the trade deadline, by the way, and they were not willing to offer anything for him, which fair. I mean, he's kind of their ace right now, and yeah, not not surprised there. The Dodgers beat the Rockies by a game in the NL West, and also the Padres. So, do we have another tiebreaker situation, or did they just play one less game? Um, I'm not sure. Uh, let's see. Well, they have one more game set to go versus San Diego. So, okay. That is today. Well, I guess we should sim it then and see what happens. Ooh, please set your playoff roster. Okay. I will do that in just a second. Let's go back to the Rockies. As they do beat the Padres. Okay, so they went to a game 162 tiebreaker, and do make it in as a wild card over the Padres. They must have played one less game, I think, and so had to go to the tiebreaker there. Mets win the NL Atlantic pretty comfortably here, I'd say. Yeah, that's how the playoffs look at the moment. Playoff coverage. Again, we got the first round bye. We will face the better of the teams remaining, so I don't think we can face the Rangers. Or I don't think we can face the if one of the wild card teams were to win. As this is always manually set your playoff roster, by the way. They decided to leave Gavin Jones off by playoff roster, which I'll do this, I think, in the next episode, since I have some time to kind of figure it out. It will be interesting to see because we have 5 quality starters between Swim, Gavin Jones, Ferris, Bello, and Sieber, and obviously you'll only be starting 4 of those guys in the playoffs. So one of them will have to move to relief. I'll have to see which one it'll be, but they'll kind of offer a nice, much needed boost to our bullpen, I think. As pitching stats, Straps was good in September, had one bad start in October. I forget when we called him back up. I think it was in August, so, end of the year he finished strong, so he, in a pinch, could also start for us too. I don't know if I'm going to put him on the roster as a reliever. That's an option as well. So how we construct our bullpen is going to be interesting. Desan Hill will not be in that bullpen, most likely. And then, Imanaga and Fad, who are kind of more starters than relievers as well. Like, we have a bunch of just, I don't want to say failed starters, but, like, we're going to have a lot of starters in our bullpen, and have to figure out how to use them. So, let's see. Playoff coverage. Let's just go ahead and sim through the first round of the playoffs so we can see who we're going to be facing. As I'll go ahead and save too. All right. Getting plenty of rest here. Yankees take this 3-game series in 2 over the D-backs. The Royals-Rangers series will go the full 3, and the Rangers come out on top. So that is who we will be facing in the next round of the playoffs. They're 90 and 72. They will be, a tough team to beat, led by Kyle Bradish as their ace. He put up a great season, 4-pitcher WAR. Hunter Green, Steve Wright. They're first in starter ERA. I'm not surprised with that rotation. War, led by Wyatt Langford, still putting up great numbers. They no longer have Evan Carter. He is on I forget where he went to in free agency, but he is not on their team anymore. So thankfully we don't have to face him, but we do have Wyatt Langford, Austin Wells, Sebastian Walcott, who is a real life prospect for them, doing well, 3.5 war, has been consistently good. Um, Rinson, Corey Seager, still hanging around as well. Yeah, not at MVP levels anymore, but still solid. Still solid at age 37, playing first base now. Um, yeah, and reliever wise, Jesus Lopez or Jesus, I'm not sure. Yeah, he looks good. He looks like he could be an intimidating closer to face. Could almost be a starter too with that pitch mix. Then Freddie Tarnok, Kyle Hurt. I was gonna say, did we have him? No, the name just sounds familiar because I did a Rocky save at one point, I think. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and look at our season in review. So by WAR, Brendan Sieber tied for the best pitcher on our rotation. He was great after coming over. We I say only gave up JoJo Parker, but JoJo Parker has been dealing, and well, Colin Snyder has not. 7.07 ERA. Uh, yeah, so this seems like a win-win trade, honestly, at least at the moment. Like, I think long term, I'd still rather have Sieber than Parker, but yeah, it helped the Expos get to the playoffs, so I'm sure they're not too upset. Carson Swim came in his first full year and was, I'd say, our ace for most of the year. Put up 4 pitcher war, sub 4 ERA. He's been very good. He will continue to start for us in the playoffs. Bello and Ferris both surprised this year. Both started the year in our bullpen and came in to kind of fill slots in the rotation and just kind of stuck around. Especially like Jackson Ferris, it was kind of questionable whether he was going to get back to his dominant year that he had back in 2028. And he came close this year. I mean, he had a better ERA than he did that season, just pitched in less games. But yeah, very encouraged by that. Chris Bourgeois, our lockdown closer, he will be our closer for the playoffs. Finished with 32 saves on the season, which is not bad at all considering he did not start the year as our closer. And his ratings all look very solid, 50 at least in everything, with still potential to grow. He's only 24. Yeah, still potentially improving. You love to see that. Imanaga was solid but not spectacular. Ended up just moving to the bullpen mainly because we had a plethora of arms in the rotation. Kind of ditto Batista, although he was a little disappointing this year considering the year he had last year. I was hoping that he would kind of take the next step, have a Gavin Jones-esque jump, but was not to be. Gavin Jones, by the way, I think finished with still 1 WAR on the season. 12 games started. He was hurt for obviously a good chunk of the season, but he will likely be one of the starters in the playoffs for us, unless I want to use him as like a shutdown reliever kind of role, which he is still like technically coming back kind of off of injury, but I think we want his arm as a starter. Yeah, I'll have to see how I want to use this bullpen. Strapadopolis also, still continuing to develop. Still kind of on the cusp. Had a decent year for being a rookie. Like, started off slow, started off really poorly in his first 3 starts, and then the last like month or so of the season was solid. And so I'm hopeful that he will continue to improve. In terms of batters, P. Crow Armstrong led our team in WAR, which is great. Like, he obviously, yeah, is still a very elite defender. If we go to, let's see, go to standings, how close is he to leading in ZR? Pretty close. These guys were insane defenders, but PCA, yeah, still a very elite defender in center field, and putting up a solid OPS plus to match this year too. That's why we went out and got him last year. How are the prospects doing that we traded for him? I think Chase Petty ended up having a decent year. Yeah, decent year for the Cubs. Ching Ho Cho still at A, but doing okay. He's still very far away from the majors. Josh Noth in AAA for them. Craig Holman now up to AA and a closer for them. He put up solid numbers in Single A, so he could be decent. Angelo Marine, he's an A ball for them, which honestly he looks like he could probably do okay. Yeah, he did okay in AA. That's where we had him, I think, last year. But he played the whole year in rookie ball for them. Sometimes the CPU doesn't. It makes some. Yeah, I think I've complained about that before. And Ciani, still putting up solid numbers, 2.5 WAR for the season. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably still an elite defender. Still arguably a better defender than PCA, at least by ZR. But anyway, PCA, I'm very happy with that. I think combined they still didn't have the same amount of WAR that PCA did, and that's divided among multiple positions. So Drake Baldwin, another solid season, a bit of a step down from last year. His ratings took a step down in May, which is slightly concerning, but for now he's our starting catcher, will remain our starting catcher. Volpe had a good year, better than last year, not as good as his 2029 or 2028 seasons, but he is 30 now, and also not playing as valuable position, still putting up very solid fielding numbers for second base, and he's our backup shortstop, obviously, too, which is good enough there. Keyshaw had a good season. He could maybe look to get some kind of long-term extension. Yeah, is he actually a free agent next year? He is a free agent next year, so we might look to extend him depending on what he's after. Yeah, I mean, this is the best season that he's had of his career. He was okay last year, kind of was debating what to do with him this year, I think, a little bit, and he came back and put up very solid numbers, so very happy with that. Cutter Coffee also had a solid season, very, 3.3 WAR. We will take that every time. Santana had a good season, buoyed by his, again, excellent defense, 10.1 ZR. Not quite as much ZR as some of his past years, but he was also hurt again for a bit this year, so. And he is down to fragile injury proneness, which is a little concerning considering we have him locked up for 5 more years, but, not for that much either. Cooper Kinney, I think I'd call that a resurgence. He put up 2 WAR for the season. Has played his way back into being a solid starter. I'll probably keep him around through arbitration. Connor Griffin came up in after spending most of the year at AAA and did well as kind of a backup role. Has played well enough to probably be a starter somewhere. We'll need to see where we can kind of slot him in there. Perdomo, I guess, would be a little disappointing, but not awful. He still brings a lot of value with his glove at most of the infield positions. He still can't really play second base that well, but plays a very solid third, can sub in at short in a pinch. He's kind of, that's kind of what I expected when I signed him to a 3-year deal. Would that be that he would be a starter in year 1, kind of in between in year 2, and then year 3 be more of a backup type role, and that's kind of how he's projecting so far. Moss is our backup catcher. solid backup catcher numbers. He was a Rule 5 pick, so we had to keep him on the roster the whole year, and that's not a bad season for a backup catcher. Sharpton didn't play a whole lot, but has hit lefties well. Will probably make my playoff rotation. Kurtz, a little disappointing. Yeah, especially again since we have him for 2 more years. And we have DeJesus and Zimmerman kind of waiting in the wings. Both of them look promising as like that everyday DH kind of role. I'll need to decide what I want to do with my playoff rotation because, yeah, I think we'll want DeJesus in there somewhere. Could he make it over someone like Kurtz? Maybe. I think with Martinez out to injury, which I should probably talk about him, he had a solid season as well. Like, before he got injured, he was probably on track for about 2 WAR for the season, which is fine. He's still only 24 too, so potential to grow. Yeah. And then if I want to go over prospects here, Clevenger didn't end up getting any big league time as he struggled a little bit at AAA. A little bit worse numbers than last year, but still obviously has really good potential. Getting close to 25, he'll be 25 before next season, so we'll kind of need to see if that potential ends up panning out. Kevin Davison is now up to AAA and doing well. Again, control needs to go up, but he was our second round pick in 2029. He could see the show sooner rather than later. Eddie Rainville doing well in Double-A. Let's just look at some of our top prospects. Eddie Aguilar doing okay. He's now at Double-A. Colson also doing okay. He just got the call up to Double-A. Lopez spent most of the year at Double-A and probably has played well enough to earn a promotion to AAA next year, I think. I'll go ahead and do that now. So he could be close, and he was a 15th round pick, so that's very solid. I'm happy with that. Adam Rath obviously got hurt after just 3 starts. Started the year well at A+. We just drafted him this past season, so he'll start probably again at A+ next year or maybe Double-A, depending on how his ratings do after the injury. Roberts struggled a bit at A+, but that was always going to be a little bit challenging for him. I might bump him back down to A or even rookie ball to start next season. Alex Rivera actually goes up in potential. Yeah, potential stuff has gone up from a 70 to a 75, and he's now a 3.5 star potential player. He's very unhappy, but I'm very happy that his potential keeps increasing. So, Dupuis put up solid numbers in A. I might start him at A+ to start the next season. But that's what you like to see. And then, let's see, Rookie League Ball. Who are our guys? A lot of these guys were just drafted. Fellman, Gullickson. Tsutsumi played the whole year and was okay. I'll probably keep him in Rookie League Ball to start next season. Yeah, I don't think he's quite ready for A-Ball just yet. Like to see those ratings go up a little more. Adam Franklin, did he play at all? No, he was just drafted this past season, but still looks good. Ledesma was also a draft pick last season. Love was. Tony Marquez was not. And he's only 17, and so he's going to get another year in Rookie League Ball. Yeah, so a lot of these guys were guys we just drafted and haven't played yet. But anyway, that will do it, I think, for this regular season. We finished 98-64. Very good season. Detroit a little bit better in terms of record, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to see. You have to imagine that a 98-win team, like, we can go out there and compete with just about anybody for a World Series title. Honestly, I think that's the goal this year. Um, we made it all the way to the ALCS last year, lost in 7 games to the eventual champion Mariners. Like, I think the goal is to at least get to the World Series this year, and then once you're there, like, win 7 games and you're champions. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Thanks again for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. You know, be sure to tell everyone about how the fictional Oakland A's are doing. Um, Tell them how excited you are for TJ Strapadopoulos's rise. Lorenzo De Jesus is coming on strong. Is PCA and Volpe, are they going to be strong contributors in our playoff run, along with Drake Baldwin, Karsten Swim, you know, all those fictional guys. Well, fictional in terms of the game. A lot of these are real life guys. So, you know, if you know any of those guys, tell them, yeah, that they're doing great for me. So, anyway, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.